And what a fabulous start to the week it was. Just when you thought that it was a dream run up until Friday, the markets came back with a bang once again. And now we're staring at almost 24,000 on the Nifty, another less than 300 points, and we should push it there. And you know, what was heartening to see was there was an across-the-board move. While you had banking, which was the strongest in this current market fall and pretty much a consensus investment, and then you have those oversold sectors like technology, which also made a comeback. So both ends of the spectrum were firing up, as was the case with the broader markets as well. And yes, the FI buying is back, and that's back with a bang. Other than that, of course, you know, what you need to keep a close eye on is all the global developments which have been happening. So S&P 500 index, by the way, overnight has managed to close in at the highest level in about 2 weeks. It was Nvidia, Tesla. They rallied on the potential tariff relief. In fact, Tesla managed to log its biggest single-day gain since November. And the Dow as well managed to close in another 600 points higher. So net, we have an excellent handover from what the globe has been up to. And that's looking good.
You know, Asha, what's ironical here is that talk of tariff first was impacting emerging markets, and now talk of diluted tariff from US President Donald Trump is actually helping US markets. So, you know, that's the way how things are. You are absolutely right. The handover from US markets is pretty decent. And stocks which really matter, like a Tesla or, you know, momentum name like Nvidia, that's where I think the market in a sense seems to be finding some feet. Now, today we are getting excited about the fall in America, the rise in America. But, you know, if this linear rise continues, then we may soon start talking about, we may soon start talking about, US markets have bottomed out, will emerging markets see some kind of an outflow? So it's good to see that US markets are back in a green group, so to speak. And whatever indications we are getting, at least on the tariff front, I think it's safe to assume that whenever the tariffs would come, I think they would be diluted. It will not be concentrated, it would not be harsh, something which I think markets in a sense are already aligning with.
Yeah, that's the commentary as well coming in from Trump overnight, saying I may give a lot of countries breaks, in, you know, his typical jargon, saying it's reciprocal, but we might be nicer than that. He says, you know, we've been very nice to a lot of countries for a very long time. We may take less than what they're charging because they've charged us so much that I don't think they could take it, but it will be substantial. So not negating tariffs, but saying that, you know, they will be flexible, which he said over the weekend as well, and they're going to be a little bit more lenient and give breaks perhaps. Having said that, there have been 25% tariffs which have been imposed on countries buying oil from Venezuela. That's the latest news. Venezuela, remember, has been exporting about almost 660,000 billion barrels per day. Barrels per day, that is, in 2024, as per reports. China, of course, was the largest exporter, buying about almost 270,000 from Venezuela. And Chevron's Venezuelan license has now been extended till May 27. So that, of course, is the latest development, saying that if they buy their oil from Venezuela, and that's Trump saying that, they have to pay a 25% tariff to do business with the US. That's on top of the existing tariffs.
See, you know, we've just started buying crude from Venezuela, and look at India's oil diplomacy. It is, when there was war between Russia and Ukraine, I distinctly remember that US, in a sense, had not urged, they almost had sent a diktat that you cannot buy from Russia. Well, Indian government
said, so, yeah.
And we said, look, you know, it's our oil diplomacy. We decide from where we buy from. And that Russian oil, which came at a discount, really came at a very important turning point, which at a time when world was worried about inflation. If you remember, between 2021 and 22, our inflation was very nice. I mean, on the inflation front, we were surprised again and again. So I would ignore this news. I'll tell you what are the factors at play. You know, Aisha, I was just looking at some factors at play. What really matters for our Indian audience here? Fear is over. How much FOMO is at play? That's question number one. Second question is, FIs are back, but are they here for good? कितने लंबे समय तक रहेंगे? Third, do you wait for the dip to buy, or you stay with the momentum? Right? We'll address all of them. And then there are three technical factors at play. 23,800, that line in the sand technically, if somebody is watching the show. There is year-end profit harvesting. We'll talk about it. Yeah. And then there is monthly expiry of FNO. So those are the factors which are really important. It is not, oil in Venezuela. I mean, those are
Yeah.
not the factors which really influence the market. So first, let's start with it. What do you think? Fear is over, but FOMO is at play.
FOMO is at play, but there is also that fear as to how, long-lasting this rebound in the market is going to be. I guess we'll have to push it a little bit more for everyone to jump in who are still waiting on the sidelines. Another 300 odd points. Once you see, I think, 24,000, just optically that will make you feel good.
Yeah, I mean, I would say pretty much the same, that fear is over, FOMO is at play, and participation is low. Because the open interest and the participation, what we've seen, I think it is not indicating anything large or substantial that the mass janta is now in the, is back. That's one. So I think in this market, rather than waiting for the dip, I think you should buy and stay with the market. I mean, if you've endured the pain, now it's time to capitalize on the gain, what we were discussing yesterday. That's, point number two. You can argue back and say that for how many days this long momentum trade would continue? I would say 2nd of April at least. Because that's the time, hopefully, we will get some clarity in terms of where the tariffs would move. Second, which everybody talks about it, when FIs they sell, why are they selling? When they are back, we say, okay, they are back, but will they stay here?
And why DII is not buying as much.
Exactly.
Theirs was, I think, a minuscule 90 odd crore rupee buy figure.
Yeah. So FIs have only covered the short positions. 18 has become 35, 36, I'm looking at data. So what they've done is they've covered the short position. They've not started buying. You had a portfolio, you hedged it by going short, you're covering your shorts. Because nobody wants to become an April fool with the tariff. You don't know what Donald Trump will do, right? Whether he can tweet on 1st of April saying that no tariffs. Indeed, another tweet will come April fool. So FIs will come back. And I think FIs are here to stay. And short covering, if tariff nothing goes negative, I think the short covering will become the long bias. And then there is this technical factor at play, FNO and year-end expiry. Let's see how we move there. But I think 23,800 is important. That data point will just come up on your screen. See, 50% short, Sasha. Market picked out when imagine that 50% of the positioning of FIs in India was short. The 50% portfolio short kar diya tha. Now it's gone to 34 or 35, I saw yesterday. That has to really inch up higher before markets actually, go higher. They use 32, right? I mean, it has to go higher. When markets peaked out last time, it was 81. At least it has to go to 50. So I still feel that, there is still some more steam left. Limited point here, Aisha, is globally things are okay. Momentum has been rediscovered. FOMO is at play. Markets are light. I will not be surprised, like you said, it's 300 points or 400 points or 500 points, who knows, we'll figure out in hindsight. But the trade is to be with the market rather than book profits in the market. I mean, you just want to say that.
Yeah.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.